Welcome back to the NPC Energy Podcast. This is the show where we lean right into the big questions like, is this reality thing just a really, really good simulation?
And maybe, just maybe, was The Matrix actually a documentary disguised as fiction?
Exactly. So we're diving into another simulated journey today, looking for those little glitches, those odd moments, and trying to make sense of some, well, pretty funky theories.
It's all about exploring the edges of what we think is real, hopefully in a way that's, more fun than getting a blue screen of death.
Right. And hey, if you're out there listening and you're pretty sure you're sentient, do us a favor, hit share, rate, follow. Prove you're not just background code.
Definitely. And today's simulated journey. This one's got us thinking. We've been digging into some really fascinating anonymous sources, specifically episode 5 from a collection we looked at previously.
Yes, those sources, the ones with, let's call them Alex and Ben,
Yeah.
and their weird observations.
That's them. They were noticing things like, the sky flickering, weirdly laggy commutes, which I think we can all relate to sometimes.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
Even coffee machines acting up, and this is the kicker, people telling the exact same slightly odd story multiple times.
Okay, see, that stuff always gets me, it feels
Yeah.
like the simulation's repeating a loop, doesn't it? Like a scratched record.
It certainly raises questions, and for them, and now for us, it's spiraled into these bigger thoughts. Could the whole universe, actually pause sometimes? Hit a cosmic snooze button?
And drilling down a bit, what about us?
What?
When we sleep, when we dream, is that just our consciousness running a screensaver while the main simulation idles? Or maybe undergoing some maintenance?
Those are the big, slightly mind-bending questions we're tackling today on this journey. So let's start with that first one. The universe taking a break.
Right. The cosmic pause. It sounds completely wild, I know, like straight out of science fiction.
It does, on the surface. But those anonymous sources hinted at something interesting. When you look at modern physics, cosmology, things get pretty strange. Time isn't necessarily what we think it is.
Okay, how so? Where does physics even start with an idea like the universe pausing?
Well, one fascinating place to start is the block universe theory. It's also called eternalism.
Block universe, okay.
Yeah, the idea is, imagine all of time, past, present, future, exists simultaneously. Like every frame of a movie laid out on a giant film reel.
So it's already there. The future isn't happening, it just is.
In this view, yes. Our experience of now, our feeling of time flowing, that's just our consciousness moving along the reel, like a projector light hitting one frame after another. Time itself doesn't flow in the way we intuitively feel it does.
Huh, okay. So if the whole movie, past and future, already exists, then the projector or the processor rendering our current moment, maybe it doesn't need to be running flat out all the time.
That's a really interesting angle on it. If the future frames are already set, maybe the system rendering our perception of now could take micro breaks. It wouldn't affect the overall timeline, which is already fixed.
It just pauses our experience of moving through it for an instant, like buffering.
Kind of, yeah. A pause wouldn't erase anything. It'd just be a momentary halt in the projection. Now, contrast that with another view. Presentism.
Presentism. That sounds more normal.
It's definitely closer to how we usually think about time. Presentism says only the present moment is real. The past is gone, the future doesn't exist yet. Reality is constantly being created, moment by moment.
Like an engine always running, generating the now.
Exactly. And in that view, a pause is much more problematic. It's like shutting off the engine of reality itself. Big consequences, you'd think.
Yeah, that sounds like it would break things. Unless, could there still be tiny gaps? Like little sputters in the engine, millisecond stalls we wouldn't notice.
It's harder to fit in, perhaps, but maybe not impossible to speculate about tiny interruptions even there, which naturally brings us to the big one.
The simulation hypothesis, which, let's be real, is kind of the heartland of the NPC Energy podcast.
It is indeed, because if we're in a simulation, then resource management becomes absolutely critical. Think about running a massive open-world video game.
Right. Your computer or console isn't rendering every single blade of grass on the entire map all at once, is it? It'd melt.
Precisely. Games use optimization. They render what you, the player, are looking at in high detail. Stuff far away or behind you, lower detail, or maybe it's not even fully loaded into memory. It's efficient.
So the question is, does the universe simulation do the same thing? Does it only bother rendering reality in high fidelity when someone or something is actually observing it?
It's a compelling thought. It even echoes some interpretations of quantum mechanics, where observing a particle seems to change its state, almost like observation makes it real in that moment.
Hmm?
What about the unobserved bits? Low-res mode, or pause,
To save cosmic processing power.
potentially. And this ties into what Nick Bostrom, the philosopher who really popularized the modern simulation argument, pointed out.
What was that?
He argued that if a simulation was paused and then restarted perfectly saving the exact state of everything inside it, including us, the simulated beings wouldn't even know.
Like pausing a game and coming back hours later. Your character has no clue time passed outside the game world.
Exactly. Which makes you look again at those weird little everyday experiences people report, those glitches in the Matrix moments.
Deja vu being the classic one, that feeling you've lived this exact moment before.
Or the cat walking past the doorway twice in the Matrix, or people reporting objects seeming to teleport, or hearing the same phrase repeated, like an NPC on a loop.
You know, I used to just dismiss deja vu as a brain quirk, memory misfiring. But what if it is the system hiccuping? Like, it accidentally serves up the previous frame again for a split second.
Or a rendering error when the system resumes from a micropause, a little stutter as things come back online.
It's almost comforting to imagine blaming reality lagging on the cosmic server admin needing to upgrade the RAM. Sorry, folks. Universe maintenance window tonight.
It's a fun thought experiment, and it leads perfectly into thinking about our own personal downtime. Sleep. What's going on when we seem to go offline every night?
Right. Sleep. We spend, what, a third of our lives doing it? And it's definitely not just off. My brain feels pretty busy sometimes when I'm dreaming.
It absolutely is. Neuroscience shows sleep isn't passive at all. We cycle through different stages, and REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, where most vivid dreaming happens, our brain activity looks remarkably similar to when we're awake and alert.
So it's not powered down, it's just doing something else, internal processing.
Exactly. It's like the system shifts focus from external input to internal maintenance. Dreams aren't just random noise, they seem to be part of some pretty important processes.
Like what? What's the brain supposedly doing in dreamland?
Well, a major theory is memory consolidation. During sleep, the brain seems to replay experiences from the day, strengthening the neural connections for important memories.
And maybe pruning the ones that aren't needed, like cleaning up old files.
Precisely, like defragmenting your mental hard drive, making access faster and more efficient for the important stuff.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Emotional processing seems huge, too. Dreams might be a sort of safe space, a simulation, where we can process intense emotions, fear, anxiety, joy, without the full physiological stress response we'd have if we were awake.
Like running an emotional antivirus scan. Dealing with the day's threats in a symbolic way.
That's a great analogy, yeah. And it connects to another idea, the threat simulation theory.
Threat simulation. Sounds dramatic.
The idea is that dreams might have evolved as a way to rehearse responses to dangerous situations. So that weird dream where you're running from, I don't know, a giant laser-eyed squirrel.
Hey, don't knock my dreams.
Well, maybe that's your brain running a drill, sharpening your fight-or-flight responses in a consequence-free virtual reality.
A built-in VR training sim. Okay, I can sort of see that. So if dreams are doing all this complex stuff, memory defrags, emotional processing, threat drills, how does the screensaver idea hold up?
Well, let's break down that analogy. What was the original point of screensavers?
On old CRT monitors, it was to stop images burning into the screen, right? By keeping the pixels changing when the computer was idle.
Exactly. Prevent burn-in. Now, we don't really need them for that, but they stick around for looks, maybe security lock screens, sometimes running background tasks like calculations.
Okay, so comparing screensavers and dreams, where does it line up and where does it fall apart?
Well, the activation state is similar, right? Screensavers start when the system is idle but powered on. Dreams happen when our brain is idle from external sensory input during sleep, but very much powered on and internally active. That's a parallel.
But the purpose seems way different. Screensavers were originally passive protection, now maybe aesthetics or simple tasks. Dreams seem way more active and vital. Memory stuff, emotions, threat practice.
Totally different leagues.
Yeah.
And the content, too. Screensavers are usually simple, pre-programmed patterns, maybe photos. Dreams are incredibly complex, bizarre, personal narrative.
Yeah, flying purple geometric shapes versus trying to find my keys while my teeth fall out. Not quite the same level of complexity.
Not at all. So calling dreams a screensaver feels like, well, it massively undersells what's likely going on. It's less like a passive display and more like a full system diagnostic, defrag, software update, emotional recalibration, and surreal VR stress test all rolled into one.
Okay, so maybe not a screensaver, more like
Yeah,
the brain's nightly all-hands maintenance cycle.
that's probably closer, yeah. But if we put our simulation hypothesis hat back on,
Oh, here we go.
then maybe that complex nightly maintenance is the simulation's way of describing the necessary upkeep for our consciousness code. Debugging, optimizing, patching our emotional subroutines, running those threat sims.
Yeah.
Maybe it has to happen when we're offline from the main reality server.
So the biological function is the simulation maintenance protocol.
Wow. It's
Huh.
one way to frame it. And this whole idea of reality glitches, pauses, dream states, it's not just us pondering this. Pop culture and philosophy have been wrestling with this stuff for ages.
Oh, yeah. You absolutely have to start with the Matrix, right? That's
Yeah.
like ground zero for bringing simulation theory into the mainstream.
Definitely. And they didn't shy away from the glitches. The deja vu cat Morpheus explicitly says it's a glitch in the Matrix that happens when they change something.
Right. It makes you wonder how many little changes, little updates might be happening around us that we just don't notice or that cause those weird little moments.
And the whole concept of being unplugged, existing in the real world versus the simulated one, it taps into really deep philosophical questions about different layers or states of reality.
Then you get stuff like Inception, which just takes the simulation idea and runs wild with it inside dreams, layers upon layers.
And the way time gets totally warped in those dream layers, minutes becoming hours, hours becoming years. It really plays with our perception.
It makes you think, if dreams are a kind of personal simulation, how deep can that rabbit hole go? Could you get stuck? It's like the block universe idea, but subjective and nested.
And we shouldn't forget a slightly older film, Dark City. That one hits our pausing universe theme even more directly.
Oh yeah, Dark City, where the whole city freezes every night, right?
Yeah.
And these alien guys rearrange everything, change people's memories.
Exactly. The entire reality gets put on pause and reconfigured while everyone's asleep, except for the protagonist, who starts waking up during the changes. Classic main character notices the simulation trope.
It's amazing how these stories tap into that feeling that things aren't quite solid. And video games do it all the time, too.
Constantly. The pause button literally freezes the game world. Loading screens are gaps where, for the player, the world effectively ceases to exist while new data loads in.
Are those just game mechanics? Or are they maybe unconscious metaphors for how a computed reality might work? Are there cosmic loading screens we just don't perceive?
It's a fascinating question, and these fictional explorations actually have really deep roots in philosophical thought about what reality even is.
Okay, let's get philosophical then. Where does this rabbit hole lead?
Well, you have ideas like solipsism. It's pretty radical, but it's the notion that only your own mind is sure to exist. Everything else, the world, other people could just be a creation of your consciousness, like a very elaborate dream.
So in that view, the universe definitely pauses when I go to sleep, because it only exists in my head anyway. Very main character syndrome.
Pretty much. Then there's idealism, which argues that reality is fundamentally mental or based on consciousness. The physical world is seen as secondary, maybe even illusory.
If consciousness is the basic stuff of reality, then reality itself might be more fluid, more dreamlike than we usually assume.
That's the implication. And then you have things like panpsychism, the idea that consciousness isn't just in brains like ours, but is a fundamental property of the universe itself, maybe even down to particles, which raises the weird question, what does sleep mean for a conscious universe?
Whoa. Does the whole universe dream? Okay, maybe that's for another simulated journey.
Perhaps. But the point is, these philosophical ideas challenge our basic assumptions about a solid, objective, continuously running reality. They make the idea of pauses, or a dreamlike structure, seem, well, less completely crazy.
It brings us back around to those personal glitches we talked about. Deja vu, yeah. But what about those feelings of derealization? When the world suddenly feels fake, distant, like you're watching a movie.
Or depersonalization, feeling detached from yourself, like you're not really controlling your body. Now, obviously, there are known psychological and neurological explanations for these feelings.
Right, important to state that. But in the spirit of this show, could they also be interpreted differently?
Could they be moments where you accidentally perceive the seams of the simulation? A brief glimpse behind the curtain? Or maybe your own internal screensaver that maintenance mode flickers on for a second even while you're awake?
It's a way to reframe those really unsettling subjective moments, isn't it? Instead of just my brain is being weird, it's maybe I just saw a flicker in the code.
It adds another layer of possibility to understanding our own experience of reality, which might be glitchier or more intermittent than we think.
Okay, wow. We've covered a lot of ground. Physics, simulations, brains, dreams, movies, philosophy. Let's try and pull the threads together. Where do we land on these big questions? Does the universe hit snooze? Are dreams just reality screensaver?
All right, on the universe sleep mode idea, physics concepts like the block universe do offer a potential loophole where processing gaps might not break the timeline. And simulation theory absolutely allows for, even suggests, pausing for optimization.
But, and it's a big but, there's no actual scientific proof of cosmic pauses, right? And those glitches we feel. Mostly have more down-to-earth explanations in psychology or neuroscience.
Correct. It remains firmly in the realm of speculation, however intriguing, and for dreams as screensavers.
We kind of busted that analogy, didn't we? The surface similarity is there happens during idle time, but dreams are just way too complex and active. Memory consolidation, emotional processing, they're doing heavy lifting.
They really are. Much more vital than just preventing screen burn-in or showing pretty patterns. However,
Here comes the simulation twist again.
if we do view it through the simulation lens, then maybe those vital biological functions are how the simulation describes its maintenance protocols for us, for our consciousness code.
Yeah.
Defragging, patching, running threat simulations. The screensaver analogy gets a bit more nuanced then, maybe.
So the biological need for sleep and dreams could actually be reflecting a deeper systemic need within the simulation itself.
That's one way to connect the two ideas. Maybe our personal offline time is necessary for the larger system's resource management or its own maintenance cycles. Our sleep facilitates the universe's potential nap.
Okay, that's kind of cool. And leads to another twist. You mentioned this earlier, the NPC idea.
Right. We spend so much time looking for NPCs out there, people acting repetitively. But what if, when we sleep and dream, running these internal maintenance programs, we are the NPCs?
Whoa. Our consciousness is offline from the main interactive world, just running background scripts, while maybe other parts of the simulation or other conscious entities are fully active.
Or maybe the whole simulation goes into a low-power mode when a critical mass of consciousnesses go offline for sleep? Are the characters in our dreams the real NPCs, just looping while our main process is busy?
Are we just AFK, away from keyboard while our cosmic player steps away for a bit? That completely flips the script on feeling like an NPC.
It does, doesn't it? Maybe it's not just about other people's behavior, but about the natural cycle of our own consciousness, switching between being an active player and being in this passive internal maintenance mode.
Man. So as usual on the NPC Energy podcast, we end up with way more questions than answers, which is kind of the point, I guess.
It really is. We're probing the mysteries, looking at the edges. Is reality continuous, or does it stutter? Are dreams biology or coded maintenance routines? Are we players or background processes half the time?
The big unknowns. So, to everyone listening, keep your eyes peeled. Notice those little inconsistencies, that flicker, that repetition, that feeling of wrongness.
It might be nothing, just your brain being a brain. Or it might be a little peek behind the simulation's curtain.
Just maybe. Thanks for joining us on this simulated journey on the NPC Energy podcast. If you enjoyed digging into this, please do rate, review, subscribe. You know the drill. It genuinely helps us keep debugging the system.
And join us next time. We're going to venture into the uncanny valley. Why do those almost human robots and CGI characters creep us out so much? Is it just psychology, or is our simulation trying to warn us about something not quite right?
Ooh, that's a good one. Until then, stay curious, question everything, and, if your barista suddenly freezes mid-pour,
Maybe suggest a quick reboot.
couldn't hurt, right? Maybe offer them a software update. You never know.
Until next time.
This has been the NPC Energy Podcast.